888-971-SHE, 888-971-7243. I think we should cut NBC some slack because they have a void to fill. The left has been looking for a communist to love on since Fidel Castro died. So you have to cut a little bit of slack there. 888-971-SHE. Dr. Sebastian Gorka, formerly Deputy Assistant to President Donald Trump, Fox News contributor, Fox News national security strategist. His book, Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War, up on LarryElder.com. Dr. Gorka, as always, thank you very much for coming on.
It's my absolute pleasure, Larry, and I want to give everybody notice of the credit I owe you for inspiring me last week when we discussed the president's concept for a military parade and how gay pride parades are empowering, and why can't this one be? That's something I used after our interview, and it was a perfect analogy. Very powerful one.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now, today we had some news about Susan Rice sending an email to herself in the waning hours of the Obama administration. What is that all about, Dr. Gorka?
Well, remember what Shakespeare said, Larry? The lady doth protest too much. This is like something out of a bad paperback spy novel. This is so obviously a cack-handed attempt at a cover-up where she says, oh, we need to proceed in completely by-the-book fashion as we have done before. Why would you say that if you had been above board for the last 8 years? And then the second half of the email, which is very, very disturbing, discusses how we have to ensure that certain information gets to where they need to go in the counterintelligence function when it comes to Russia. Well, she wrote this after the inauguration. She had no function. And what exactly was former President Obama and his national security advisor going to do in the counterintelligence domain after they had become private citizens? That's what we now have to find out, Larry.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking to Dr. Sebastian Gorka. The book is called Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. Where is this investigation of Trump going to go? Where's this going to lead us?
Well, look, I agree with those people who say you have to let it go its full course. Mm-hmm. The president, one day there was just the two of us in the Oval Office, and he was clearly frustrated, and he said to me, they will find nothing because there is nothing to find. Stopping it, he has the right to stop it. The president is the commander-in-chief, but also constitutionally, he's the top law enforcement officer in America, so he can fire Mueller, he can stop the investigation constitutionally. But I think it has to run its course to prove that there is nothing there, or what seems more and more likely every day with the firings, with the quote-unquote early retirements, I think it's going to collapse. When we see more and more evidence of the Democrats and Hillary Clinton colluding with Russians to undermine the presidential election, I think the whole raison d'etre, the whole purpose of the Mueller investigation turns into a puff of smoke.
Dr. Gorka, let's talk about the Democratic email, the one that President Trump said he was not going to authorize the release of. He apparently feels that sources and methods are in there, and they would be compromised if he made this public. If that's true, why did all the Republicans on the House Intel Committee vote to release it?
I think that was a political gesture. The final veto power is the president as the head of the executive of the intelligence community. I think it's patently obvious, given the speed with which the Democrat memo was slapped together, that it needs to be more professionally produced, edited, what have you. But I think the president's call is a very accurate one. No matter how the Republicans voted, he did what had to be done. He said, look, there are issues here. I'm not going to touch it because that's the Adam Schiff trap. You have to fix it, Democrats. You know what sources and methods are just as well as we do. So like a clever school teacher, he gives the homework back to the pupil unbraided and says, show me your work, fix this essay. It was the best option available.
Dr. Gorka, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you about the criticism that the president is getting over the timeline of when he knew about Rob Porter and why didn't Ray Kelly do more about it. Is it me or am I not correct that Ben Rhodes, the Deputy National Security Advisor for Obama, never had a national security clearance his entire time with the White House? I would like to ask you about that. Let me know if that is true or false. Dr. Sebastian Gorka and I will be talking about that in just a few minutes. Larry will. 888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. Dr. Sebastian Gorka is my guest, formerly Deputy Assistant to President Trump. His book is called Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. It's up on LarryElder.com. Dr. Gorka, before you came on, I mentioned that I thought that Ben Rhodes did not have a top security clearance the whole time he was there. And I said, if anybody would know, you would. Did he?
Ben Rhodes, the mastermind, quote unquote, of the Iran deal, who likes lying to the American people and calling journalists idiots, was refused even an interim security clearance by the FBI for various reasons, and as such never obtained a real security clearance for the 8 years he worked in the Obama White House.
The Deputy National Security Advisor never had a full national security clearance for the 8 years he served in the Obama administration. Wow. And where was the Washington Post and CNN and the ninnies over on MSNBC when they discovered all of this?
They were probably at the same cocktail parties as Ben Rhodes, Colin Kahl, and everybody else.
Wow. So talk to me about the timeline on Rob Porter. Why is this a big deal? Why is the president being criticized for not knowing more and doing more?
Look, the question right now is, so this is hot off the presses. We've got latest reports within the last couple of hours from Axios and elsewhere that something doesn't gel with the story as to when the White House found out about Porter's background in terms of his abusing his former wives. The issue here is we have to have certitude that as soon as the White House had been informed of his background, that's when he was asked to resign or was fired. We don't have full visibility, but there's a buried lead here, Larry. There's a much bigger story, and that's the question of the whole clearance process and who's in control. Because I'm finishing a piece right now for The Hill where I'm going to talk about how basically the White House, every White House, is hostage to both the FBI and the CIA when it comes to clearances. The FBI does the preliminary investigations, the top secret clearances. The SCI, the special compartmented intelligence part of it, is done by the CIA. And the bureaucrats in those agencies can slow roll, can keep information from getting to the White House at the time it should get to the White House. I know very, very powerful, strong candidates for senior positions in the White House who were messed around, denied clearances, and that's another way the deep state holds a new president's administration hostage, basically, Larry.
The theme I'm hearing on cable, on CNN, and on MSNBC, Dr. Gorka, is that this is a president who's tone deaf to allegations of spousal abuse, domestic violence. And this is from a party that year after year after year ignored allegation after allegation against Bill Clinton. I mentioned a book yesterday called No One Left to Lie To, written by Christopher Hitchens, who used to be a darling of the left. He said, Dr. Gorka, there was not one, not two, but three plausible, his word, plausible allegations of rape against Bill Clinton. Nobody cared. And during this election, not one reporter, to my knowledge, asked Hillary whether or not it was true. Did you verbally intimidate an alleged rape survivor named Juanita Broderick, who claims 2 weeks after her rape at the hands of Bill Clinton, you verbally intimidated her? Nobody even asked that question. And now they're calling Donald Trump insensitive to women? Scotty, beam me up, honestly.
Look, all I can do is quote my good friend Chris Blount, who has the radio show here in D.C. in the mornings. If the left didn't have double standards, Larry, they'd have no standards at all.
Well, Dr. Gorka, what about Kathleen Willey going on 60 Minutes and describing how Bill Clinton took her hand, put it on his erect genitalia, and a few days after that, Gloria Steinem, the nation's prominent feminist, writes a column in the New York Times and says, even if you believe Kathleen Willey, what happened is not sexual harassment because after she said stop, he stopped. Are you kidding me? She's a feminist.
It's truly disgusting. The lengths to which the left will go to willfully facilitate, to be enablers to individuals that basically ride roughshod over any decent values that America represents. Look, it goes back to our prior conversation. When you are prepared to gush over a woman who is head of propaganda for the North Korean regime, which maintains labor camps, Larry, there is no limit to your lack of moral compass. I lived this in the White House. They attack me night and day. That's fine. I'm a proxy for the president. But when somebody who calls themselves a journalist attacks my wife, attacks my dead mother, and then attacks my teenage son, you realize, the cost of moral relativism is that these people have no moral compass, Larry, and they prove it to us every day.
My guest is Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, I was reading an article about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said she was aware of the rumors against Harvey Weinstein. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was aware of the rumors against Harvey Weinstein, and yet Democrat after Democrat, year after year, accepted money from this man. It's stunning. Not
exactly a woman you'd say is in the inner circle of Hollywood.
You wouldn't think she'd be wired. You wouldn't think she'd be connected, but she knew about it. Oh, man.
Not sure she reads The Hollywood Reporter, but look, I think that story is yet to be told, and I think there will be an imminent implosion. This is perhaps one of the most horrific aspects of the double standards of the left. It's what's been going on in Hollywood for decades, and I think we don't know 10% of it yet. So let the sunshine disinfect that whole morass.
Dr. Gorka, as always, thank you very much for joining us.
God bless. Thank you, Larry.
God bless. We come back. Students explain why they oppose a border wall and why they want open borders. Check out their logic. I'm Larry Elder. Don't leave town.
Larry Elder.